Every Thai BL fan has seen this house, or this staircase, or this house. Hi friends, today we're gonna have a little bit of a silly funny video, and it's all about iconic Thai BL houses, because if you have watched several Thai BLs, especially by one of the bigger production companies like GMTV or Domundi, you will see that there's quite some overlap. And if you have watched like so many, especially in the last 5 years, then you will know which iconic house I'm already talking about. So I'm so excited for that, and hope you're all doing well. And let's get into it. I'm so excited. Okay, in Thai BL, especially, I think there's many iconic shooting locations that have been used for many different series across agencies, across companies. And so I really want to get into that because I find it very fascinating. And so that's why we're gonna do that today. Okay, so we're gonna start with like really some amazingly iconic, really locations. And what I love by finding this out, because I went through like Googling and I had a Reddit thread, so I can also link that down below if you want to see some more things and some more information about even more shooting locations. I love that this is like very different to many TV series in Western media, especially in the US. It's that they use like certain cities and houses as like the outer shoots and like the locations, but then most of what is the inside of the house is like shot in a different house on a soundstage or something like that. And I kind of like that in Thai BL and like most of the series it is like without really a soundstage. I kind of enjoy it, I have to say, even though I understand why it has to be done in some series, but it's like fun to see these houses. So we're gonna start with this one house which has the floating stairs of death, I think is what some people on Reddit called it. And it is this house. And one of the main characteristics of this house is that it has these floating stairs where there's no railing. There's a wall on the one side, but there's no railing, which I, as a majorly clumsy person, always gives me like a bad feeling. And so the shows this house has been in is Cutie Pie, The Eclipse, Star in My Mind, Unforgotten Night, Don't Say No, Gap. I think that's the major ones where you will recognize it from. And yeah, I think that's really funny that they use it in so many different shows from so many different like agencies and companies. And it has seen its fair share amount of drama, that house. But again, funnily enough, they have never really used that as like a drama point, really, that the stair is like the staircase, basically the stairs, that is very dangerous to go up to. But you know, kudos to all the actors, because no one has been ever seriously injured, so you know, we love that. Also, funny story actually about Cutie Pie being filmed in that house is that they did use some to make the house seem even bigger and even more extravagant, and also from like the beginning, I think from like the some of the outer shots and some rooms are like from a second house. But yeah, most of it is actually filmed in that house with the crazy floating death stairs. Okay, so the next one will also be familiar to many people who watch Thai BL, and it is the iconic house from shows like Love in the Air, Between Us, Big Dragon, also My Golden Blood is partly also set in there, and The Tuxedo is also filmed there. And it's a massive house with like the massive glass front and the floating stairs, which are actually fully floating, not like with the first house where there's still some kind of wall. And of course, there's been many iconic moments in that house, and there were very many dramatic moments, obviously. And I love that these big houses are always, of course, supposed to symbolize, you know, they're supposed to symbolize that the people who live there are like super rich, influential, right? Like in Between Us, the Wynn's family is like their own hotels. Then, of course, same with Big Dragon, that they're also like a very rich family. Same in the Tuxedo. And then, of course, My Golden Blood, it literally symbolizes his like like ability to accumulate this much wealth because he's literally a vampire. And so that's why I think it's such an iconic house. Same in Love in the Air. It shows that the parents of Payu and Saifa are like very well off, that they could literally keep this massive house and give it to their sons and have a second house in the new province in Thailand that they live in. But yeah, so that's why it's like such an iconic house. And of course, if you want to talk about like Love in the Air, so many iconic scenes. Like, of course, we got the couch from a special episode. We've got, as I said, the floating staircase, which again is a floating staircase of death. And they filmed a love scene basically there, and a sea scene. And I was like, this must have been so nerve-wracking because I could barely walk up probably that stairs up like normally, and then they have to like act and like kiss each other and stuff. And I'm like, okay, I would have totally fallen off there. But that's why. And then of course, same in between us, we also got like really cool scenes, really nice scenes in that house. Of course, my babe Santa played this young brother of Win. And there's this really funny scene where he literally also races up the stairs to see Win, because he's like, oh my god, Win is here. And of course, Win and Team are both there, and he like jumps on the bed and he doesn't know that the second person in the bed. It's the most hilarious scene. I love it. And so that's why it's again so iconic, very also fitting in Love in the Air, because he's supposed to be also an architect. So I think this kind of like very open space, a lot of like sunlight, a lot of like quite minimalist like decor and interior design, and like in general lots of like windows and lots of glass, I think really fits with Payu's aesthetic. So that's why. And again, it really just symbolizes that all these families who live then in this house are like super wealthy. So our third iconic BL house has only been in 3 BLs, but I think for me it's still like a super iconic house, because it firstly is in Cutie Pie, Kua's secret hideaway house that his grandfather gifted him, which again really symbolizes that Kua comes from this really rich, like literally generational wealth, rich like family, as we also see obviously in his family home, right, where he lives also for some parts of the series, and that we see even also in some flashbacks, is that it's this massive house, like this massive estate, you can already say, mansion. And he also has a mansion which is his secret hideaway house, which then also before was used in Lovely Writer and in Love by Chance. It was also used in Love by Chance, and was Tin's massive house, which makes sense because he's supposed to be the richest out of all the characters. Like his family is supposed to be like literally, like if you watch like for example K-drama, they're like supposed to have like this chaebol energy, like that they're like so rich. It's like really unethical basically to be that rich. And that's why though the house also in Love by Chance is just, it does not just appear massive from the outside, but also from the inside. It's very intricate, lots of rooms, lots of different, you know, levels. And also his room is like really massive, like Tin's bedroom is massive. And then it's literally on the waterfront as well. And so like I think it just really did well to symbolize like the level of wealth that his family has. And of course it has this iconic like massive entryway and massive doors and like everything. Every time I rewatch it, I'm like in awe, kind of. I'm like, this is way too big of a house. That's though why they can afford it, because I would not be able, because I would firstly not be able to get that house, and second, who wants to clean that? You need like every day 5 maids or something to clean that house. So that's just too much hassle. So that's why I wouldn't even want to live in a house that big. That's a bit too much. Okay, let's continue. We have another one, which is also where they filmed GMTV Safe House Season 3. They filmed Tononchonity, Never Let Me Go, Don't Say No, Step by Step, Laws of Attraction, We Are, Oh My Sunshine Night. Oh, and A Tale of a Thousand Stars. I had to check for a moment on my little list. But it's again all of these super rich characters. So we got Tono, we got Fiat, right? We got Puma and Fang. We got also Tian from A Tale of a Thousand Stars, and they're all supposed to be like super rich people. Like the parents are super rich, and you know they're like politicians. They're like for example Tian's dad, or they're like just generally really wealthy businessmen. And so that's why it's like very interesting again how they show through those like houses how wealthy the family and the character is supposed to be, which is also interesting. But it also there's like different level of firstly of wealth, secondly on how basically the wealth is shown in contrast then to the other characters, especially the love interests. And so that's why it's like also really cool, I think. And it is also really like amazing house. Again, that's why I love the locations from like so many Thai BLs, because they look always really beautiful, very fitting to the story, to the characters, to the vibe basically. And I really enjoy that, I have to say. Another really beautiful Thai BL location is this like red brick house, which can be seen in Not Me and in KinnPorsche. For example, in KinnPorsche, it actually is like important, especially in the first few episodes when Porsche is still really new to like the Mafia and to like the bodyguarding. And so there's actually quite a few scenes in which you can either see it from like the front, or also when they're like standing kind of in front of it, or like in the garden, which in the series is like really close to it. And so that's why it's like, but it's such a beautiful building, and I love like those exposed red bricks. I think it always looks good, and I love that in any country. When I see houses like that, I'm always really like in awe of it, because I love that. That would be one of my dream styles. Because I have several dream homes, which sadly probably won't happen, because have you seen real estate prices in this world? But the Mafia, they can afford it. So that's why, and I think it's also Tawi's house and Not Me, if I remember correctly. And that's also said in my little like Reddit post that I used as a source. So I think that should be correct. And then, of course, another KinnPorsche house that we have is the one where there's the pool at the infinity pool at the top. And that also is shown in Not Me. That's where Todd lives. And we can literally see the kind of like the similar room. And like we can see the living room, the bedroom, and the pool, which all appear also in KinnPorsche. So I think that's also really interesting, because like when I watched it, I was like, oh my god, it's the same pool. And then especially in KinnPorsche, like you can literally see the Deutsche Bank logo behind it, which was so weird, but also funny. Because I'm like, this is not fitting at all, because they're literally the Mafia and it's like stuff, and then this is the Deutsche Bank. So I was like, okay, great, sure. I don't know if it was sponsored by them, maybe. But yeah, so those like I love in general. KinnPorsche has such gorgeous houses, like then also like all these like other locations that, for example, like the Miner family lives in, and the market which is near the Miner family's home, and Porsche and Porsche's home, or the bar that Porsche works at, right? And also all the other parts of like the like mansions, and where Cancun lives, and where Kim lives, and the recording studio of Kim, and of course also where then the bodyguards live. And when you look inside, it's like I think it's like a hotel. When I think because it has so many like floors and it has these amazing elevators. And so that's why I think KinnPorsche, they also did really well with the aesthetics, with the locations, with the shooting, with the cinematography, and with choosing all of these different locations, fitting again to all the characters, like their wealth level. But we cannot forget the safe house where Vegas holds Pete hostage. That was also, we didn't see that much from it, but we saw it from the outside. We saw a part of the garden, and obviously some parts of the inside. And so yeah, that's why I really love those locations, especially from KinnPorsche. Now I want to do a little honorable mention. because I started recently now on when I was filming this. It been recently that I have watched the first episode of Revamp the Undead Story with Boone and Prem, and I have to say I was very intrigued by the house and like everything where like Boone, where Prem's characters live. It looks so fun, it looks so eclectic, and it's giving me like really the vibes that I love in like a house when I watch things. For example, some of my favorite houses in non-Thai BL series and movies are, for example, the house in Practical Magic, the house in Charmed, right? The house in Halloween Town. Like those kind of like spooky, like also the Addams Family in the television series from like the 60s. And so I feel like his house gives a similar vibe, but like in Thailand, obviously. But like it's still like the similar vibe. It's like a very interesting layout of the house, and he has all everybody's knickknacks and antiques and like little like, you know, things like little bones and like things he probably also restored himself and found. And it just, and he has this very tiny kitchen, but like some of the parts of the house are also really massive, and it just looks so moody and kind of spooky, a bit eerie, but like so interesting. And I really wanted to mention that because I already am in love with that series, but also I really want to live in that house. I think that would be one of my dream houses as well. It's like definitely on the list now of my dream houses. Yeah, so that's it. Thank you for watching, and thank you for coming to my little chaos fangirl corner. And I hope you had fun. You know where the subscribe button lives, and I will see you soon. And until then, bye.